Lisa, the Love Coach here, founder of LoveQuestCoaching, with a video on why do people ghost. I know that there are tons of videos out there, but I'm going to break it down for you in a way that will make you feel seen, heard, validated. You are not crazy, right? You are not crazy. You're looking like, why are people doing this, right? You're on YouTube being like, why are people ghosting? Maybe you're dating for the first time after being in a relationship for a really long time and you took a break and now you're dating again. Or maybe you were married and you haven't dated since like the 90s, hello, and the dating landscape is completely different and you're like losing your mind because you're thinking, are people really treating each other this way? So let's get into the content. Again, I'm Lisa, the Love Coach, and I offer a free love life assessment, which is at LoveQuestCoaching.com. So at any point in this video, you can click it to watch later. You can go get your assessment and get on your journey to healing so that you become a person who does not get ghosted. You start attracting the people that you want instead of the people that you don't. And I can help you out. So let's get into some stats, okay? So the prevalence of ghosting. 74% of people, according to The Atlantic, have experienced ghosting in online dating, right? So you might want to consider getting off of the apps. Oh, but Lisa, how do you meet people if you're not on the apps? There are plenty of ways to meet people. Go out, enjoy a great social life. If you don't have friends, start to make new ones. You can do that by having hobbies and interests, going and doing the things that you like to do. Because the dating apps, honey, that's where all the ghosters hang out. I'm going to get into why in a minute. 40% of people, according to Hinge, say that they were ghosted on after just one date. And 58.5% of individuals with certain personality traits have ghosted people. They admit to this. And these people display tendencies of dark psychology, like on the spectrum of narcissism, antisocial behavior, that sort of thing, sociopathy, psychopathy, right? There's like 1 in 4 people are psychopaths today, okay? And this is behavior of that. No empathy, no compassion, no putting yourself in the other person's shoes, no ability to communicate. I'm going to get into a few reasons later, deeper, as to why people do this. And if you're watching this and you've ghosted, I don't know why you would be watching this, but if you are, stop it. Just simply send the following text. Okay, I'll give you a second to get a piece of paper and a pen. Save this. I'm telling you, there are gems in here. You're going to want to go back and write this down. If you are on a date with somebody and you realize they're not for you, when you leave the date, you simply thank them for meeting them, right? Thanks so much for meeting with me. I'm not sure there's a fit here romantically, and I wish you well on your dating journey. That's it. That's it. Now, if you've seen this person more, right, more than one time or more than 3 times, let's say, and you're actually like been dating them and then you realize I saw enough to know that I don't want to know anymore, then you can text them this. You don't have to have a long face-to-face, awkward, awful conversation. It's not necessary. You are only just dating, right? Dating is exactly that. It's trying people on. However, you just want to be concise and considerate and deliver it in a way that makes the person feel good about themselves and about dating in general. You don't want to crush anyone's spirit. So what you're going to write, let's say you're dating somebody for 3 months or whatever, and you've gone out a bunch of times, you can then say to them, I've been giving my life a lot of thought and the direction that I'm taking my life in. And after our past few months together, I realized there are important things that we're not really on the same page about. And I'm not here to change anybody. So I've made the decision to continue to search for the person who truly is for me. And I encourage you to do the same. And I wish you the best. Ouch! But far better than no communication, blocked on every social media platform, and just fallen off the earth as if you were abducted by aliens. So this is the way. Have to be concise. Don't need to have this full-blown conversation if you're dating somebody for 3 months, right? You could just have a simple text message, an email, that says it all, very succinct, no long drawn out book paragraphs and paragraphs. No, succinct. I've made the decision for my life. This is your life. You have every right to tell somebody that they're not for you, but just do it in a way that is upfront, honest, succinct, and again, delicate. You want to dish it out the way you would want it told to you, right? This is basic, like natural law principle. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And that happens when we let people down. You want to let people down with an anvil dropped on their head, or do you want to let people down in a manner that you would want to be let down in? All right, so right now, to give you some anecdotes from my coaching practice, I am coaching this dude. He's very successful. He's in his late 30s, and he was in a relationship for a year, about a year. And 4 months ago, the relationship started to kind of go off the rails. And so he wanted to communicate on it. He tried to do all the right things. He gave her space when she said she needed space. And from that ambiguity of needing space and giving space and just kind of hanging back, she ended up ghosting him. And so what he realized was she had a very avoidant personality type and she didn't like confrontation. And I'm going to get into the typical characteristics of the people for why they ghost, right? But she had them, right? The other one is a client of mine, a woman in her early 40s, and she's new to dating after ending an engagement 2 years ago. So she took a break. She was in a long-term relationship. They decided to get engaged. She canceled the engagement because it was never leading to marriage. She was getting jerked around and she's like, you know what, I'm 40 years old soon. I need to like get on with this. And so anyhow, she's new to dating and she realized that she met her ex when she was late 20s, 30s, like that time frame of her life. And that dating then, the ghosting was not as bad as it is now. She's like, now it's on a whole other level. And she's like, maybe because I'm older, she doesn't know, but she came to me because it rattled her so much. She's like, I don't even know if I know how to date anymore. So while ghosting can lead to depression, anxiety, makes you question your value, your worth, your self-esteem, you're like, what is wrong with me? The one that gets to my clients the most is their inability to trust their own intuition and read of people. So a lot of the people that I coach, they're very successful, right? They're professionals. They do very well for themselves. They often work in corporate environments, in businesses where they're engaging with people and doing business deals and things. So having a good read of people is kind of what they do, right? It's what they do for their profession. It's necessary. And so when they feel so confident that they have such a good read on people, and then they get it so wrong, and they go on dates with people and then all of a sudden it ends up ending abruptly, or even in a relationship with somebody and you think everything is going well. And then all of a sudden it's just poof, bye-bye, like as if aliens abducted them. They just disappear. And then you're blocked on everything and you have no explanation, no idea what happened, right? This can be very jarring, and it definitely jacks up your nervous system and you kind of feel afraid. Is this going to happen again? Am I going to reveal so much of myself to this other person only to have them ghost me? Not even have the decency after sharing so much, being physically intimate even in some cases, right? You're in a relationship and nothing. Like as if you were a Post-it note piece of paper crumpled and thrown away. Nobody wants to feel like that, right? So this is the thing. They fear opening up again. And you know how like in the relationships, you have that high, right? That initial like, ooh, getting to know somebody. It's like it's very euphoric. And then you reveal a lot about yourself and you develop rapport and trust. And then it's gone. So a lot of people are afraid to date to have that happen again. It makes perfect sense. So common reasons for ghosting. Let's get into that, right? Number one, conflict avoidant. These are people who don't like confrontation. And nobody really likes confrontation. Like, who wants to wake up in the morning and be like, yay, who am I going to confront today? Who am I going to tear an ass into, right? Like, nobody does that. However, there's maturity and there is immaturity. And people who avoid conflict and don't want to have the difficult conversations have an easier way of avoiding the discomfort of a direct conversation. So these people are avoidant. They're very like, I don't want to be feeling icky, right? But that's immaturity, because when you grow up, you have to deliver sometimes things that people don't want to hear, but they need to hear it. And it's the way it's delivered. Number 2, they just believe that there's not really an emotional investment, so I don't owe you anything. This is cruel, right? But again, we live in a disposable society. People crumple up people like Post-it notes and dump them away, just like that. Nobody has meaningful relationships really anymore. So emotional investment is, you might not feel a strong connection to the person. You go out 3 times and you're like, meh. And instead of explaining, like, listen, I had a good time meeting you, I just don't think we're on the same page for many things in life. And I just see you more as a friend. And I know you want more than that. So I wish you the best and keep it moving, right? They just assume that the connection wasn't significant enough to even warrant any kind of explanation. So to me, this is just like selfishness. Right? This is like, you're better. Like, you don't have it in you to even explain anything about anything, that you just blow a person off. So that's a problem. You need to learn how to avoid people like that. Number 3, fear of rejection or a negative reaction. So this is also has to do with emotional intelligence, right? So if they are afraid of being rejected or afraid of experiencing a negative reaction, they're going to ghost. They're like, I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to make anyone angry. I don't want to try to change their mind. I don't want anyone trying to change my mind. I don't want to be coerced into a relationship. Let me just ghost. It's like they're overwhelmed, right? So these are people who are immature and they shouldn't be dating in the first place. And it's up to you to learn how to weed them out. And I teach people this in my coaching all the time. Right? All the time. You got to learn how to date with your own intention at the forefront. You have to be dating from a position of power and purpose, and you need to learn how to ask certain questions and listen to what is being shared so that you can determine, is this person avoidant? Is this person going to ghost me? Is this person a psychopath? Is this person a narcissist? Etc. And that's what I help. That's my specialty. It's helping people to hold themselves in an energetic measure so that they don't attract those types of people at all, right? When you learn how to hold yourself energetically so that you become a match to healthy people, emotionally mature people, people who don't fear communication, open, honest transparency, that's when you start to attract better people. So let's get together. You can find the link in the description, but let's get into more of the reasons why people ghost. Lack of maturity, emotional intelligence, which we talked about. Perceived low stakes, which means in the early stages of dating, the connection feels casual, not really significant. And so for some people, the emotional stake isn't there that much. So why talk? Why have this conversation? Again, it's just avoidance of drama. They want no drama. I just want to walk away from this thing and I don't want any drama, any fallout, any conversation. It's cowardice. The desire to avoid over-explaining. People don't want to over-explain themselves. That's another reason why they ghost. They feel like, I don't want to get into this long conversation. I don't want to deal with crying. I can't deal with that. It's this avoidance of the ickiness of grown, mature adult life. Number 7, overwhelmed by options. This is the bigger, better deal effect. This is the problem with social media and dating sites. It gives this false illusion of options. It's like this big buffet and you go in there and you're trying to choose which one's for you. Oh, but it doesn't matter because if I don't like this, I could always eat this. And if I don't like this, I could always have that. And then you end up with nothing, right? False illusion of choice and an overwhelm of options. And so instead of treating somebody with dignity, respect, and honor, you end up just casting them aside like some meatball on a plate that you didn't feel like eating because you want to go over there and eat a cannoli. Number 8, insecurity or avoiding responsibility. Some people feel insecure about being the bad guy and they don't want to explain their reasons for not wanting to continue to see somebody. And then they're like, I don't want them to judge me. I don't want them to think I'm rude. And so again, it's an avoidance of your own feelings. It's not taking responsibility for your own feelings, of saying, like a grown-ass adult, hey, it was really cool to get to meet you. However, I don't see a romantic connection here, but I think you're really nice. Like, I'd be cool with a friendship. I'll see you around socially and be cool with each other. You know, I just don't think that it's a fit romantically. You're allowed to say that, and you're allowed to say it that succinctly, right? And wish people well. That it shows them that you are firm in your decision. And this is all boiled down to, I'll tell you exactly what I think this is, because I'm Gen X. I'm like the anti-Lisa that gives all the, advice strong and straight and direct. I'll tell you straight up, Gen Z, Gen Y, I'm Gen X. Those two generations were taught that mommy and daddy handle all battles for you, right? That's what that is. So the kid whose mommy made a play date for him or her when she was 4 is now 24, right? So they don't know how to deal and socialize. It's socially inept. Throw in dating websites, dating sites, dating apps. Throw in social media, and it's a complete cluster. It's a complete cluster. Like let's say I'm married now, but when I was dating and I was single, if the person didn't do it for me, they knew. I would tell them. They would be like, hey, when are we going out again? And I'd say, hey, I would love to hang out with you again as friends. I think you're a cool person. I just don't see it romantically. And if you don't want yet another friend, I totally understand. Flat out in a text, period, end of story. Right? But I'm not going to excuse Gen X as not being ghosts. Phantoms. Gen X can be phantoms too. They can ghost also for all the same reasons. Right? So while, there are things about Gen Y and Gen Z that make it more of a disposable society, Gen X, as they aged out on dating, as they got married, got divorced, and got bitter, they went out into the dating space and they're taking on the same terrible behaviors, and it has to stop. And it's bad dating karma. If you ghost somebody, it's bad dating karma. Number 9, lack of relationship expectations. So for some people, dating might not come with the same expectations of transparency and closure that would be common in most adult relationships. And so when things aren't going well, this was what happened with my client, they just check out. Right? It's like a relationship is about relating with people even through conflict, even through differing opinions, differing disagreements, right? You have disagreements all the time. You have to be able to withstand that. Otherwise, don't bother dating, right? You don't want to have a true relationship where your intention is to grow, right? And conflict presents an opportunity to grow. But if you're just like, buy me shit, take me out to dinners and get me on vacations, and that's all you think your dating life should be, then you're in a superficial way and you're probably going to ghost people. Those are the types of people who ghost. Those are the type of people who don't want to actually get in there and resolve conflict. Number 10, last reason, there are many more, but for this video, I went with 10, the fear of being too honest and vulnerable. So ghosting could be a way to avoid vulnerability. And some people don't want to be honest because they open themselves up for judgment of other people. So these are people who can't understand that you just met this person and already you're caring about their judgment, right? They don't know how to put themselves first. They don't know how to say very directly, hey, so I think we want different things. I think it was really cool that we met, but I think after getting to know you a bit more, I don't know if we're for each other. And the end, there's nothing wrong with that. So moving forward, okay, now that you know all of this, what do you do? Like, how do you proceed? So here are my 5 tips. Number 1, learn how to vet people. Learn how to date for data. You are sizing these people up. In the beginning, you are full on asking the right questions, which I can tell you, and knowing what to listen for, right? And you're avoiding these people who are avoidant, right? When you ask them certain questions on a date and they're very evasive and they don't like talking about themselves. That's a red flag. And conversely, the people who totally lay it on thick, maybe love bomb, right? Come across a bit of a charming player type, right? These are the people that are most likely going to ghost you. Number 2, be intentional and upfront with why you are dating. What is the clear purpose? What are you trying to achieve by dating? This way, when you are upfront and you say to somebody, I'm dating to attract my spouse. I want to attract the mother of my children. I want to attract the father of my children. I want to attract someone for a long-term committed relationship. They know going in, you're not playing around. Your time is precious and you are assessing if they're it. And it can mean that they're not it. This is like American Idol, right? You're sitting back, you're on a date, and you're like, hi, what do you have? What do you do? Who are you? Let me get to know you. And you hang back and you listen and you watch the performance. That's really what it is. And then you decide, are you coming with me or are you not? It's very simple, right? Dating with this level of confidence and power. It is most efficient and effective because that is when you do attract the type of people that you want to attract and the person who is your person. So the third tip also, don't have sex before you are committed and in love. The longer you drag out the get to know each other stage to see if there's actually a bond there beyond the delulu of the physical, right? Because the physical turns your brain to mush, right? When the sex is good, it's like they could, light your car on fire and you'll be like, but the sex was great. You can't put that off. Put that off, right? The longer you're with them, the longer you're bonding with them with your clothes on, the less likely they are to ghost you. They'll develop respect for you. And people who are respected, they don't get ghosted, right? They don't. And first of all, people who have respect for themselves, they don't allow ghosting, meaning they don't allow the ghosting to get to them. So the fourth thing is to work on developing your own confidence and heal anything from your past that is having you show up needy and codependent, right? Like if you need to be in a relationship, if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling like, a relationship would be the thing to make my life complete, shake off that energy. You have to be in a very neutral, I'd love it, but I don't need it. I would love to be in a relationship, but I'm good on my own, right? I open myself up to receive the right relationship, but if it's not right for me, I'm totally cool with being alone. You see, that's the sweet spot. You're open, but you're not needy. So the real things to understand here is that, ghosting is just common because people are super narcissistic now more than ever, and they lack emotional maturity. Society is disposable, and there's this big illusion of choice. And there's a lot of virtue signaling out there where people are out there blabbing about compassion and empathy and kindness. Meanwhile, they're the ones ghosting because they're narcissists at the core. That's why they're virtue signaling all the time. If you're a compassionate person, you don't need to tell other people be compassionate. You just lead by example, right? If you're an empathetic person, people are going to be able to tell based on not be empathetic. No, they're going to be like, wow, that must have felt really bad for you. Oh my God, are you okay? Like putting yourself in those people's shoes. Not a lot of people can do that these days. And then also, the most important, ghosting speaks volumes about them, right? Consider that you were spared, right? If they have the ability to be that, how are they going to come at you when things are really serious if you're in a long-term relationship and some massive, terrible crisis happens, which inevitably will in life? So if you were ghosted and you're kind of rattled by it and you're afraid of dating because you don't want to be ghosted again and it's all this residual just noise going on, you're not crazy. It obviously happens to people. You're super sensitive. You thought you could trust yourself to have discernment over someone. They told you all of these things and then they boom ghost. Let's connect because I can definitely help you. I help people with this stuff all the time. And the key thing here is to learn how to just embody the energy of confidence so that you don't attract the people who are going to ghost you. Instead, you attract the people who are on your level, people who will communicate with transparency the way you will, right? So the next step is simple. Get your free love life assessment. Connect with me at LoveQuestCoaching.com. The link is in the description. There's also my social media handles, so you can get my quick videos via Instagram and Facebook if that's your jam, and TikTok, of course. And also like the video and subscribe to the channel, and then hit the bell notification so that when this party gets started and my videos get uploaded, you will be the first to know. I'm Lisa, the Love Coach, founder of LoveQuestCoaching.com, and I wish you a happy, productive dating and relationship life. Till next time.